The topic of today's video is going to be tying up your horse. I'm a super fan of tying up your horse. I make my horses stand tied usually every session that I work with them. A horse can learn a lot about giving to pressure while they're standing tied. They can learn a lot about patience. Right here, Creaker is not being very patient. He's being your kind of typical baby who's pawing and fidgeting and not standing still. He will kind of back up and he'll be pulling pressure on the rope at points, and Betty will also do that in different clips I have as well. But that is the prime example why I do not use a tie ring. Now, everybody's background with horses is a little bit different, and why we do things is usually on our own experiences. And my experiences with being growing up on a ranch and doing packing is you don't want your horse to pull on your lead rope. You want your horse to respect the amount of rope that it's given instead of pulling on it and expecting more rope and getting more room when they're standing tied, in my opinion. So positive things carry over from your horse standing tied, but also negative things can carry over. I was pulled off of my lead horse by a pack horse once when I was younger, and luckily I wasn't seriously injured, but I was injured. So I personally don't use anything that promotes your horse pulling more than they should or when they should not be pulling. So Creaker's being, pretty typical here. He's not being perfect, which is great. That's what I want. He's not throwing any major fits. He's testing things. He's figuring things out on his own without me having to hold his hand to show him this is what you do. You just stand still. They have to learn that on their own. It's not magic that a horse just, you go walk over and tie it up and it's going to stand there perfect. That's not how it works. Tying your horse is not only important for your horse, but it is also very important for you, the owner, to know how to do. Whether you're doing competition, just ranch work, pleasure work, trail riding, whatever, at some point you're going to be tying your horse up. And it's something I see a lot of people think that they don't need to know how to do it properly. And I've also seen those same people who didn't want to learn and take the time cause their horse injuries by flipping their horse over, by having way too long of line out when they're tied and tied with the wrong knots. And it's just, in my opinion, very silly to injure your horse because of your own ignorance. A horse can learn really fast how to be naughty at standing tied if they figure out, hey, if I throw myself over or I do this, I get certain things. And each horse is like individual on why they do the things that they do. So I'm not going to go out and speculate why somebody's horse doesn't stand good unless I've done the work with them. But usually a lot of it is because they didn't get enough time and practice working through the bugs of the horse not standing tied. Usually it doesn't take too long. Creaker's already calm in that clip. He's figured it out. You can also, when you're first exposing your horse to holding a bit in their mouth, you can just tie him up and let him stand there and kind of play with it and figure it out. Lots of thinking time happens during standing time. At the end of a session, it can be like a really good just way for your horse to recap and kind of take in everything that just happened. Now, Betty looks like an old pro here, but then a couple days ago, before this was her doing the same testing that rope, and then she comes forward and she's teaching herself how to give to the pressure of the lead rope, and I'm not even doing a thing. Now, both of these horses are being well behaved. They're testing it. They're figuring out what's going on. They could be a lot worse, so I'm happy with how they stand. I also do things like I put music on and we'll just sit and let them listen to music and stand, and they will listen to the music. They enjoy music a lot, but it's just a distraction also for them to just listen to while they're standing there. And Betty kind of fidgets around and moves around, and that's 100% okay for your horse to do when they're learning this. Do not expect your horse to just stand perfect, because if you do, you are setting up really false expectations for you and your horse. At the end of sessions, you can put hay out with them too, so they can just sit and munch on the hay. Good practice. I personally don't always put hay out, because then sometimes they can get a little expectant and throw tissy fits, especially babies, because they want that hay and it's not there. So lastly, in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the two main ways of tying up your horse. This way is like a slippy knot. I don't know what the actual technical name of it is, but the other one is a bank robber's knot. I'll do the bank robber's knot in a separate video. The reason these knots are important is because of how fast they come undone. Not because of how they're tied, but how they come undone. If there is an oh-snap situation, you need to pull the end of your tail and have it come undone in a heartbeat. You don't have to tie a daisy chain. That's just something I do with extra rope. But the point is, you want this to come undone as fast as possible. This hitch pops undone in seconds, even in an emergency.